Hey y'all, it's Beck here with Southern Spangled, and I have a fun craft for you to do today. It's a little bit of spin on a lot of the fake bakes that you may be seeing around. I have kind of been enamored with the fake bakes lately. Some of them are so cute, and so I've been trying my hand at a few of them, and today we're going to do something with a pumpkin that I think you're gonna love. I actually made 3 of them, and you'll see why in a little bit at the end. I'll show you all 3 of mine together. But let's get started, and I'll show you what all you need for today's craft. Okay, so for today's craft, you're obviously going to want a pumpkin. I'm using a foam pumpkin. It doesn't have to be a foam pumpkin, but it makes it a little bit easier to deal with this stem. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You're gonna want, if it's a foam pumpkin, you're gonna want an X-Acto knife in order to take out the stem to make it a little bit easier. You're going to want some Mod Podge, some paint, whatever color you're doing, some silicone caulk, something to mix everything together in, as well as a stick to mix it all together. And then you're going to want some kind of fake sprinkles and some glitter. And then finally, this is a messy project, so you're going to want to put something down on your workspace to protect it. So let's move everything out of the way for the moment, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm using the foam pumpkin, and we want to take out that stem. So you're going to use your X-Acto knife and cut around the stem. And once you've done that, it will pop right out, just like that. That's gonna make it a little bit easier so that you don't get anything on the stem. Now, you might want to put this back in your pumpkin after we're done with our technique, or you might want to save the stem and use it on another pumpkin that you have. But for the time being, we can set it aside. All right, so that's all we need to do for the pumpkin right now. Now what we're going to be doing is mixing up these 3 things to create something that looks like icing or frosting on top of the pumpkin. And I'm going to start with the caulk. Now I don't have any exact measurements, but I'll let you see in my cup as I put it in about how much I use. I should have cut a bigger hole. So you can see about how much I have in there. Then we're going to add some of the Mod Podge. Again, I'm just estimating by how much I think. The Mod Podge is pretty thick. And you can see how much of that I have in there. And then, yes, this is white, but I wanted a brighter white, and so I'm going to add paint. Now you could just use acrylic paint, but I have the Waverly chalk paint, so I'm going to use that. It really doesn't matter, but if you want your white to be a little more brilliant white, then you're going to want to add the paint. Okay, and then we're going to mix that together, and you've got to mix it pretty well. It's going to take a little bit of time because you want to get all the lumps out. Okay, so I've been stirring this for a couple minutes. You can kind of see down in there what it looks like. Here's about what the consistency is. You don't want it too thick because you do want it to run, but you don't want it to be so thin that it just runs everywhere, okay? All right, so we're basically going to ice the top of the cake, or of the pumpkin. I'm going to concentrate on the grooves so that the icing runs down into the grooves and then it kind of covers the top. So I'm going to start just by putting a good layer on. You don't want too much to go down into your hole there, because if you put your stem back in, then you want that to fit pretty good. And if you don't, you might want to do what I'm going to do. Okay, so get a little bit more. So I just start by making sure the top part is covered. And that will level itself out. And then I can start kind of concentrating on the grooves, and I'll put some in each of the grooves like that so that it will run down. So you can see how the other side is looking. Almost looks like the top of a bundt cake. Okay, so we're gonna let that. I'm gonna add a little bit more over here to this side to be fairly even. Okay. Now comes the fun part. I have these orange, yellow, and white fake sprinkles. Okay, these are clay. And you don't want to use real sprinkles because, like it or not, the bugs will find it eventually. So it's better not to use anything with sugar. And you'll be able to figure out quickly why I am using these colors. But obviously, use whatever colors you can find, whatever you like, whatever your color scheme is. And that's the nice thing about this is no matter what colors you want, you can totally make it fit your style. So I'm going to put a good amount on. You also want to make sure you get it down in the part where it is dripping down as well. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Hope you guys can see this. Let me pick it up. I do have paint dripping, but you can see that. And then, as the final touch, we're going to put some glitter. I just have some white glitter here. I like to use diamond dust, but I'm out of it. So this was the next best thing that I had. This is just going to add a little bit of shimmer. And you know what? If you don't like glitter, it's kind of a love-hate relationship with some people. If you don't like it, don't use it. All right, and then once you're done with this, you're going to set it aside for at least overnight. Don't come in and touch it to see if it's dry because it's probably not going to be. Just for sure, leave it overnight. Let it have plenty of time to get dry. And then let me get this out of the way and I'll show you what I did with mine. Okay, so here is one of the other ones that I did. And as you can see, I put a candle in the middle of it with the bow. I wanted a yellow pumpkin and I couldn't find one. So I took the same orange pumpkin, I painted it yellow, I went back in, put a little bit of shading in the grooves, and then I put the orange icing on top with the same glitter, the same sprinkles. I have one of these battery operated candles that I can just spin and it comes on, and then I put this cute black and white ribbon on it. You can see that ribbon just pops. So of course my theme is candy corn. I'm doing 3 different pumpkins. Let me show you how I styled them and how they look in my dining room.